Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. That's 6 days away from Election Day. And we have with us Judge Andrew Napolitano, a man of men like nobody else out there when it comes to what America is supposed to be, what the founding fathers wanted it to be, what they said they made it to be with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and what has been destroyed from us by the crime syndicate running the country, what they call politicians today. Judge, thanks for being here today in this couple of days before Election Day. And you have a new article coming out, be out tomorrow. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. My family and friends are angry with me because I won't tell them for whom I plan to vote for president. I have not voted for the Republican or Democratic for president since 1984, when I happily voted for Ronald Reagan. Since those days, the Democrats have gravitated to principles of big government that would make FDR blush, and the Republicans have abandoned all principles.
The uni-party, which is the welfare, warfare, military-industrial complex surveillance state, enjoys the support of 90% of the Congress. You can add to that AIPAC and the donor class if you want. Witness the way Prime Minister Netanyahu was greeted with 58 standing ovations in under an hour when he spoke to Congress. There are some exceptions, believe it or not. AOC and Bernie Sanders and their folks on the left, and Thomas Massie and Rand Paul and his folks in the libertarian camp. But for the most part, both Republicans and Democrats are responsible for the wars we have fought, the debt we have incurred, and the suppression of liberty that we experience. And it's not going to change no matter who wins the election next week, whether we know it next week or whether it takes 2 months like in the past. But whoever it is, the deep state will, and the culture of the deep state, which is shared by 90% of the Congress, will continue to borrow and spend, fight and kill, and suppress human freedom.
I just wrote, the deep state wins, the people lose.
Well, the deep state has extraordinary power. I'll just give you two anecdotal examples. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, for whom I have absolutely no respect whatsoever, when he was a simple member of Congress, by simple, I mean he wasn't in leadership, voted consistently against the extensions of the Patriot Act, and indicated as the Speaker of the House he had misgivings about extending it. The NSA and their buddies visited him in secret for 2 hours in his office. He came out of the office and said, "I'm in favor of it." Donald Trump, who was famously victimized by British and American and Israeli spying going back to 2015, who suffered horrifically because of the spying, which continued into his presidency, voted to extend the Patriot Act. And then I had that conversation with him at the tail end of his presidency that I've told you about, so forgive me for repeating it. I said, "When are you going to reveal the JFK papers?" Yeah. And he said, "Well, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't reveal them either." And I said, "Who's they and what did they show you?" So sometime I'll tell you when people aren't listening to our phone call. There's no question in my mind but that there is an insidious deep state. Justice Scalia told me that he and the other members of the court knew that the Supreme Court of the United States, was being spied upon by the NSA. Yeah. So they have their tentacles everywhere. I would imagine in the case of members of Congress, like this example I gave you with Speaker Johnson, they have probably have dirt on people.
Oh, yeah.
And so they use a stick as well as a carrot to get their way. And what is their way? Increased authority and increased budgets. Why do we spend 860 billion on defense, which is more than the next 10 countries combined. Let's see the next 10 countries. North Korea has a bigger army than we do. Russia has a bigger army than we do. China has a bigger navy than we do. We spend more than all those countries on the next 7 combined. Where does it go? Well, it goes to the military industrial complex. It goes to enrich the bankers who lend the money, the arms manufacturers who borrow the money and build the arms, and it goes to maintaining. Nobody knows the exact number. It's somewhere between 800 and 903 foreign military bases that the American empire has constructed for itself around the globe.
Yeah, so what is it, about 80 or 90 different countries, right?
Correct. There are, you ready for this? 112 American military bases in our ancestral homeland alone. 112 in Italy. It's just mind-boggling. And how much does it cost? Can't see the numbers. What's the CIA's budget? Nobody knows. What does the Constitution say about this? No money shall be spent from the federal treasury except that which is recorded in a public journal. Is the defense budget recorded in a public journal? Is the intelligence budget recorded in a public journal? No and no. It's sickening. None of it will change, no matter which one, Harris or Trump, wins next week.
Well, the covers of our Trends Journal magazine,
right.
We've been saying this for follow your leaders. They'll lead you into hell.
Wow.
Here's another one.
Wow.
Numbskull's race to the White House.
There you go.
We got another one over here. Minnie Mouse or Donald Duck, the Disney World White House. That's all it is. It's a presidential reality show.
Right.
Look at the clown show that Trump put on over in Madison Square Garden.
That was
last Sunday.
Very, very, very low brow. I don't know if you saw Giuliani. He was almost maniacal. Iran wants to kill you. We have to kill the Iranians before they kill you. Israel is there for us. That's why we have to be there for them. You tell that to the families of the soldiers or the sailors that were murdered when Israel tried to sink the USS Liberty.
Yeah. And again, Giuliani, a little piece of nothing, a little boy of nothing. You want to go fight over there? Go over there and fight, or shut your mouth. Oh, by the way, send your boy over there to go fight too. Anybody that wants to get involved in anybody else's war, go over there and fight. Send your wife, your kids, your transgenders, go over there, send your money, or shut your damn mouth. A little boy of nothing, a little clown. And how stupid could Trump be to put a little piece of crap like him out there to go shoot his crap out of his mouth?
And the so-called comedians they had, it was terrible. Even my friend Sid Rosenberg, it's indefensible, the stuff he and the others said. It was just terrible. And you know what? It drowned out Trump. Yeah. Nobody's talking about whatever he said. Big deal. He had 25,000 people. Look, I don't know where this election's going to go. She had 75,000 people outside of the Capitol last night. Now, admittedly, they're from states that are going to go for her anyway, Maryland and Virginia. He had 25,000 at Madison Square Garden from states that are going to go for her anyway, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York. So I don't know if the size of the crowd, Trump gets hung up on the size of the crowd. I don't know if the size of crowds means anything anymore. I still think she's going to win. I've been saying it all along. I had my doubts 2 weeks ago. I didn't reveal the doubts. I don't have the doubts anymore. But, I'm an ideological guy. I'm not a political guy. I don't have the feel for this the way you do. You managed political campaigns. You have a more sensitive finger on the pulse of the electorate than I do.
Well, not really. I mean, I did it, but this is a whole different show, I agree with you, by the way. I've said from the beginning she's going to win. And again, I could be wrong, but I think that is going to be the issue. It's one of the issues, again, whether you like it or not. This you see the commercials coming up. How many are on anti-abortion? Again, whether you're for it or against it, not the issue.
Right.
You got to go by the numbers.
Right. Does it resonate? Apparently, it resonates with women, Democratic women and Republican women. It resonates with all women, young women and old women.
The numbers are there.
Yeah.
67% of Americans are pro-abortion.
Right.
So again, it's not what you want, what you like, and that's by the way, with trend forecasting, it's not like you said. You don't take an ideological position on things. It's what is and where's it going. And this article you wrote, everybody really, you got to read this. It's about Tweedledee and Tweedledum. You said most Republicans, you talk about how they've destroyed the Constitution. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump favor war against countries and people who pose no threat whatsoever to the national security of the United States. And you just said that little clown boy, Giuliani, saying Iran is a threat to us.
I have asked everybody on my show this week if Iran is a threat to the United States, and they all look at me like, why are you even asking that, Judge? Of course not.
Yeah.
The Iranian people want to be prosperous. They want to trade with us. They want the sanctions gone. Netanyahu is looking for a foil. Netanyahu is upset that the Iranians have nuclear weapons. He won't admit that he does, but of course, Jonathan Pollard, the former Navy official with divided loyalties, stole the nuclear secrets to which he had lawful access and gave them to Israel. He served a long time in jail, but he now is out and is an Israeli citizen living in Israel.
You see what you're listening to, everybody? What you're hearing from the judge, you're not going to hear anywhere else. And this is why you need to go to his website and his podcast, Judging Freedom. The people he has on, you're not hearing anywhere else in the way you're hearing it from him when they go on his show. And so go to Judging Freedom. And we're talking about the Trump rally on Sunday, last Sunday. And there was a great event that Scott Ritter put on in the city. And I'll never forget you as you were leaving, you said, you got to get out of here before the Trump rally begins. and tell us about that what Scott Ritter put on. It was sensational.
Well, at the same time as Trump's warm-up acts were insulting ethnicities on one end of Manhattan, on the other side of Manhattan, we had a gathering of 300-400 people at a restaurant, the owners of which are friends of yours and Scott Ritter's, which consisted of three panel conversations one was about war and peace and the dangers of nuclear war. One was about our loss of liberties in general, with a focus on the freedom of speech. The third one, I was gone, so I don't know what the third one was about, but these were people from the right, people from the left, ex-Democrats, ex-Republicans, libertarians, progressives, pardon me, who are serious warriors for peace.
Yep.
And who see the warfare state as a danger to our personal freedom, our economic freedom, and even our lives. I did not know that my dear friend Gerald Celente was going to be there. You came up and hugged and kissed me before it started, and when it was my turn to start, it's dangerous to do that, to introduce somebody from the audience, because you always find another friend you forgot to introduce, and that person gets upset. Yeah. But I had to introduce you and praise you to the skies and plug the Trends Journal. And I think everybody there knew exactly who you were.
Yeah. No, it's very kind of you. And what the judge was also, he was the head of the panel over there, and what you did. And I did a podcast last night before I got your article. And this is what I said in the podcast last night. What a man he is. I got to tell you, what he did at that conference that Scott Ritter had, this guy is nobody like him. If Judge Napolitano was president, America would be the country that our founding fathers fought for, and that our immigrant parents and grandparents, all the people that wanted to come to America because it was the greatest place on earth, wanted to go to. that would be the America we have today.
Very flattering. Thank you.
Not flattering. It's the truth. And there's nobody like you out there. And this is the kind of person we need. You're all about the facts of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which this country was founded upon, that have been destroyed from us. And that article that you have here, it just goes on and on about it. Again,
isn't it amazing what the two of them want to do? Trump wants to change the First Amendment to allow the government to prosecute you for burning your own flag, not your neighbor's flag or a government flag, but your own. Trump wants to change the Fifth Amendment to allow local police and federal agents to beat the crap out of people at the scene of a crime. Suppose they have the wrong person. She wants to change the 14th Amendment. I mean, it's unbelievable what they talk openly about doing and how they want to bring harm to the fabric of the United States. The fabric of the United States is not the government. The fabric of the United States is that individuals are sovereign. Our liberty is personal. It's integral to our existence. It comes from within us. It doesn't come from the government. Does the government believe that? Of course not.
You know, as I said, Judge, if all of the people in the government were Italian, they'd call it a mafia.
Right.
It is. It's a crime syndicate. It's not a government. They steal our money, give it to the banksters. You forgot. Oh, everybody forgot the crash of the panic of '08. Oh, when the Federal Reserve, another criminal group created by another criminal, Woodrow Wilson, they gave the banksters $29 trillion. That's not my numbers. That's according to the Levy Institute at Bard College. As people losing their homes, going broke. Hey, but Jamie Dimon, the J.P. Morgan Chase gang, 5 felonies, convicted of 5 felonies. Slap on the wrist, keep going over there. Hey, don't worry about it. That's our government. And you make it really clear here. Neither Trump or Harris believes in the values that underlie the Constitution. You go that both Trump and Harris, as I said, favor spending trillions more per year than the feds collect in taxes just to keep certain folks happy. Some of those folks are the unfortunate have-nots, and some of the wealthy bankers and arms manufacturers. And don't forget the big pharma.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is terrible. It's terrible. Both candidates have a remarkable antipathy for the Fourth Amendment. That amendment guarantees the right to be left alone, privacy. Both Trump and Harris agree that this amendment doesn't really mean what it says. Both candidates want to spend more on the Pentagon than the next 10 countries combined, as you made clear, spend on their militaries. Does it matter who's president? Does it matter who's president?
Emotionally, it matters. Constitutionally, it doesn't. They will both do the same thing and defer to the deep state on the issues that are most important: war and peace, debt, and personal freedom.
You know, you say you haven't voted. I haven't voted. The last person I voted for was Ron Paul back in 2012.
Yeah. Well, I usually vote for the Libertarian. I don't know anything about the Libertarian this time. He's got a very bad rep, but there are like 10 choices in New Jersey. I'll vote for one of them for president. I'll vote for one of them, but you can't vote for, in my view, you can't. A Libertarian, a small government, peace-loving, maximum individual liberty-seeking person cannot vote in good conscience for either of the other two. I have a lot of arguments with my libertarian friends who go, Trump is the lesser of two evils. Trump is the lesser of two evils. Trump is an authoritarian, which is the opposite of a libertarian. Harris, is big government on steroids. She will dwarf Joe Biden and FDR in how she'll grow the government. How can you vote for either of them?
You know, you said about it, lesser of two evils. Like, that's like saying almost pregnant.
Right. Right.
Evil is evil.
Yes.
There's no such thing. Again, the Pope came out like I call it Pope of Dope. He said, the Catholic people must vote, and you must vote for a lesser evil.
That's absurd, and that's contrary to Catholic teaching, but he makes up his own.
Exactly. No, Judge, this is a terrible time, and we're facing a terrible future, and there are so few of us that are fighting against it. And also at that conference, there were former military guys there, top military guys at the Scott Ritter conference.
Yes.
And these are people on the inside that knew the facts.
Well, Dennis Fritz,
Yep.
who wrote the book about how we were lied to in getting us into Afghanistan and Iraq. The Defense Department told him not to publish the book. He published it anyway. He's on my podcast later today.
Wow, what a guy he is.
Oh, he is fabulous. Fabulous. You talk about personal courage. He's utterly fearless.
Yep. Yeah, and as Scott Ritter said, this poor guy has been through a lot of pain and suffering, as we've mentioned, and you've mentioned in detail. And he keeps fighting. And he said, if they kill me, they kill me. He said, but I won't die as a coward.
Right.
And that's a true man, and that's the true spirit of the human being.
Yes.
And everybody needs to do that. We need to unite for peace, because if we don't, we're going to die for war. And that was one of the first parts of the conference. Every one of the people said we are on the brink of nuclear war. Is that correct or incorrect?
Absolutely correct. It's correct that they said it, and it's truthful what they said. Now, when we are together next Wednesday, will we know who the next president will be?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Minnie Mouse or Donald Duck?
Right.
Yep. Whoever wins, Goofy is going to keep ruling us.
Right. And the deep state will rejoice.
Yep. Judge, thanks so much for being on. And everybody, don't forget, go to Judging Freedom, judgingfreedom.com. The people he has on and the knowledge coming from Judge Napolitano and the questions that he asks about the real facts and the real issues, there's nothing else like it. So tune in. Judge, thanks for being here. And hopefully we'll see you next week. If
there is a next week. Thank you, Gerald. All the best.
Thank you.